and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is the start of a new week with Market Today. But what an incredible weekend we've all had actually last night. There were celebrations all across with Team India winning the Champions Trophy of 2025. It was an exemplary innings that Team India played. Undefeated for the entire series is what we've seen, and that's what is the true mark of champions truly. In fact, India has, with the Champions Trophy of 2025, ended their 12-year ICC ODI title drought in style, defeating New Zealand by 4 wickets to claim their record-breaking third ICC Champions Trophy title on Sunday at the Dubai International Stadium. Star batter Virat Kohli, reflecting on the victory, did praise the team's depth, and he also asserted that this squad has the potential to dominate the world cricket for the next 8 years to come. Those are the celebratory visuals from across India that you're getting to see, and some of the highlights of the entire series. Each team player, as Mr. Virat Kohli did say, that stepped up and put up their hands in every match. And that's how the team and the winning team is definitely should be. And therefore, what we have seen yesterday and overnight is something that will be etched in the memories of people for a long time to come. Champions Trophy 2025 comes home with Team India winning the title after 12 years. Exemplary innings by Team India, and let's hope that when we start off this fresh week on the stock markets with the same spirit, the bulls are also able to hang on to crucial levels and show us brighter days yet again. Now, what we did see over the last week, finally some signs of green did emerge on the Nifty. 22,500 is what we've already seen. It was in fact the best week in 3 months and a first positive week after 4 that we've seen for the Nifty. And yet it almost feels like an eternity since there was any green on the screen. But there's no denying that the bulls will definitely take comfort from the fact that the Nifty has recovered nearly 600 points from the low that we had hit on Tuesday, 21,964. After that sharp fall and testing very, very crucial levels, we have rebounded with hopes that there could be this kind of a new base that is being formed on the index to now finally start to move higher from here. One of the key contributing factors last week that we saw in the recovery was with Reliance Industries. Over the last 2 trading sessions, we saw the stock move 6% on Thursday and Friday, and this has been the single biggest factor in Nifty's recovery as well. We already have some ticks that are starting on the pre-open trade, not looking very good. Right at the open, 22,289, but this should improve. This is showing a 215 point of a dip on the Nifty. This is despite the Wall Street, of course, looking at choppiness all through overnight on Friday, as well as the Asia markets opening slightly on a mixed note on this morning as well. But things are improving. As you see, 0.8% of a decline on the Nifty is what we are looking at. But this is a truncated week, so that will be important to see as to how the 4 days of trading session really move. You can actually see on the Asia markets, Nikkei and Kospi are up, but Hang Seng is under pressure, Chinese index is under pressure, and the Gift Nifty was already indicating a muted start, and that's what it is. Now slightly improving, and this is more sensible to look at. 22,500 back on the screen as far as the pre-open trades are concerned, 42 points lower as far as the Nifty is concerned. Of course, Friday will be holiday on account of Holi, and therefore we have trade until Thursday to really look at as to how this also spaces up. Now, what we'll also look at is a whole host of stocks that will be important to watch as well. In terms of the key stocks, we have Tata Power. You could look at, this stock because it's the company has signed an MOU for 7,000 megawatts renewable energy projects. You could look at that. Biocon, that's announced a positive phase 3 study results for Yesnic biosimilar. That also will be in focus. Neogen Chemical will be another one. Remember, there's this fire incident at Dahej plant that has caused extensive damage. There could be some impact on Neogen Chemicals. Then let's look at Shilpa Medicare. Remember, this is the US FDA inspection at Shilpa Pharma, and one observation has been noted there, and therefore you could be really looking at that stock as well. Railtel, the company has secured an order of 28 odd crore rupees from Northern Railways, so that will also be important to watch out for. Again, we'll also look at some other stocks like Lemon Tree Hotels. The company has signed 2 new properties in Madhya Pradesh. That will be important to watch. Nazara Technologies, there's a sale of 94.8% stake in Open Play at 104 crore rupees that the company has announced. So some of these stocks will be in focus. But Raika pointed out that the single biggest factor in markets recovery last week was Reliance Industries. Again, we have brokerage houses reports today on that. We have on Reliance Industries, Morgan Stanley giving an overweight rating and a target price of 1606. They believe that after 9 months of challenges, Reliance Industries earnings have seen multiple legs of recovery since last quarter. Year to date, they have seen more evidence of recovery at refining and certain chains of chemicals too. Asian chemicals multiples are also rebounding from lows. That's also that they are pointing out. But finally, we are seeing some green, and you can see that 6% uptick on the last week basis on Reliance. Let's hope that this builds on. On the IT heavyweight, Infosys is again on the radar of brokerage houses. CLSA has upgraded the stock to outperform from hold with a target price of 1978. Resilient demand plus attractive prices, discretionary demand revival across the key verticals and geos definitely remain intact. They believe that fourth quarter weakness in seasonality is already priced in and on-ground demand resilience remains intact as well. So that will be also important to take into account. On Bombay Stock Exchange, remember this has been the stock that has been rather under pressure over the last few weeks and sessions. Here the Nuvama as well as one more brokerage house, they have come out with reports, but Nuvama here has come out with a buy report, but the target price they have slashed to 5160. They believe that NSE has changed its expiry for the derivatives contracts, which is 1 day prior to that of BSE, and there are arguments that this could lower the volumes for the industry as trading avenues for retail investors who are typically active closer to the expiry will also reduce, and that's why we've been seeing some pressure on that one as well. There are several others as well, but we'll first welcome our guest on board. We have with us Mr. Vineet Bulinchkar, Head of Research at Ventura Securities, joining right in. Warm welcome to you, Vineet, and thank you so much for joining in. Tell us, how did you celebrate India's victory at the Champions Trophy last night? And do you believe that Indian markets is now getting set for a good innings on D Street?
Uh, I think India really performed extremely well in yesterday's match. Notwithstanding the wickets that fell, I think we performed well. It was a very smooth victory. But can we say that for the Indian markets as of now? I think last weekend, Mr. Trump came and said that India agreed to considerably reduce duties. Now, if the duties get reduced significantly, there will be a lot of industries which will come under pressure. And so we are going to see a lot of churning happen in the Indian markets. Uh, we need to, of course, get the fine print before commenting on how each industry will be impacted. But definitely, we have been very protective of agri exports and agriculture consumption and protecting the farmer. So we need to be seeing how really we are able to get that concessions from the US.
Okay. We'll also welcome Vaishali Parekh on board, Vice President Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar. She's also joining in. Vaishali, welcome to you. Congratulations. India has won at the Champions Trophy. Which are the stocks that you believe will be able to replicate what Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and the other star batsmen have been able to achieve at Champions Trophy now?
Very good morning, Sakshi and Anita. Yes, and congratulations to all of us. It was indeed a good triumphant move. So I think, yes, I'm also now getting optimistic on the Indian market. Market has some sort of shown us some stability at these levels. So I would say for now, I would look at stock specific rather than sector specific. And after a corrective move like this, what we witnessed just in the recent past, I think market is giving us good opportunities. So yes, we would go stock specific.
So which are the stocks you're betting big on?
So well, for now, I think according to me, power stocks, I mean, are quite good. So one of them, which I'm always talking about, is Torrent Power, Tata Power. These are the stocks, NTPC, REC. These are the stocks which I think should not be affected by all the global trauma that we are going through.
Sure.
And then some of the metal stocks are looking very good. In fact, I would also look at silver from here on because silver has been surging very well. So that is another avenue that one can look for.
Okay, silver apart from equities is something that one can definitely look at. But Vineet, like how Vaishali pointed out, that one should be really looking at the domestic focused stocks like power oriented stocks. I wanted to ask you about the other PSUs, railways and defense. How confident are you of these two pockets reversing to erstwhile glory? Do you think this is the right time to have a relook or at least start accumulating the stocks within this pack?
So, I don't want to be, the forerunner of doomsday, but I believe that, we are going to see some significant correction come in the Indian markets, given the
Okay.
fact that, these concessions that are given, it depends a lot on this, what kind of concessions are given. And, this typically the month of March is a tax selling month. And for tax harvesting, a lot of people have still not done their tax planning. So that will be happening. And so we will continue to be a little bit, choppy and at best be around the similar levels.
Okay, so slightly choppiness is something that you are expecting on the back of tax savings that could actually impact the market move or across March. That's something that will be important. So, where do you advise Vineet to hedge one's portfolio? What is the ideal way to deal with the choppiness that comes in with the financial year end?
So, I believe that if there is a recovery in the markets, banks will do well.
Okay,
Banking stocks, in my opinion, should perform very well. PSU banks are available at very, very cheap valuations. And hence, I think that is one pocket which I think will look good. Domestic power and power ancillary stocks should also do well. I will be looking at PFC, REC. Again, they are the financial part of the game as proxies for the entire power play because they're very, very cheap.
where within the banks are you confident of? Within the PSU banks, which are your preferred ones?
So, within the banks, I like Canara Bank because Canara Bank has two IPOs which are impending, value unlocking there.
Okay,
Price to book is around 0.65, very cheap. Uh, and these are all stress valuation levels which were there earlier.
sure.
Now that stress is not there. And so, this is one bank which appeals to me the most.
Okay, Canara Bank is something that we can look at. The markets have settled the pre-open on the lower end as far as the Nifty is concerned, 22,521, 0.1% lower. Banks also on the back foot. You also see autos, FMCG, IT, PSU banks and metals also on the back foot right now in the pre-open trade, that is to speak. But the broader market showing some recovery. Pharma stocks, consumer durables, realty, infra, these are the pockets that may be showing us some strength. Let's take this space up one by one. First, the mid and the small caps for you, Vaishali. How would you be really looking at the opportunities here?
Sorry, come again. Which stock are you talking about?
The mid and the small cap pockets, broader markets, how are you going to be approaching them with the signs of recovery emerging?
So right now we are seeing overall bounce coming in. So I would say yes. Why not look at few of the stocks? I mean, as Vineet just spoke about Canara Bank, my focus also is on Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda. Then I think yes, overall mid cap and small cap should bounce back.
Okay, Vineet, you have a take on the mid and the small cap space right now. Do you think the worst is behind for this space or no?
I think the valuations are still not complete. They may be reasonable, but they're not cheap. So I think
Okay.
that they will can come off from here. One of the stocks which looks very attractive to me
Hmm.
and could be a good uh, play on the export theme
Hmm.
could be LT Foods. I think there's significant value there. We think that stock can do really well. The company is going to become debt free, and we expect very strong top line growth coming in with margin expansion.
Yes, absolutely. I think, a few days back, broken rice exports have also been cleared up for a lot of these players. So, LT Foods could be beneficial. Do you think LT Foods is the best player among all the, rice related stocks and rice exporters?
Yeah, they have a US presence, they have a European presence. They're now getting into the Saudi market, domestic market. They're also opening up. They're getting into ready to eat, cook and
Hmm.
ready to eat products. So,
Hmm.
multiple levers going out.
Okay. LT Foods is something that one can definitely look at from the mid and the small cap basket on the export space, especially that one can definitely look at interesting spaces. Okay, I'll discuss a few stocks then. Vaishali, first Reliance Industries. We already saw about a 6% jump last week. Recovery finally happening after a long haul of pain. Will this continue? Should one bet on Reliance Industries starting now, even if it is for positional trades?
So I would say now Reliance is making a base at 1180. And I mean, if you remember last time when we spoke, I had given a sell, and that's what exactly happened. So I think we are expecting a bounce, but I would say for new buying opportunity, 1200 should be the level that one can watch for. And I am seeing a near-term model at 1320, 1350. So that
Yeah.
would be the range that I would look at, 1200 to 1330.
Okay. What about you, Vineet? Do you think Reliance will have, some triggers under its belly as far as, wings are concerned and further rallies concerned in the new financial year going forward? It's been a washout of sorts in the last fiscal year for Reliance Industries. Are things getting back on track?
So, they need to make announcements on their, green energy policy, which has been like not much forthcoming from the company.
Hmm.
But once that is announced, I expect the stock to do really well. We've seen some very good action on Friday, and that could be the possible precursor to that.
Okay, fair point. So one can definitely look at Reliance Industries at this point in time. The other one is the IT space as well that I wanted to discuss. Vineet, how are you approaching the space? Is there a sense of caution?
Uh, I have been a advocate of not being in that space at all, so I won't be commenting on that right now.
Okay. Vaishali, anything on Infosys that you would like to suggest? It's been upgraded with a target price to 1978 by CLSA today. Anything interesting on Infosys or any other IT stock?
So actually, I'm not confident about the sector on the whole. Technically, also, I think it can retest 36,000 levels. Currently, it's at 37,000 odd. So I would wait for a decline. 36,000 index on the whole is a level to watch.
Okay, fair point. So we'll definitely look at the IT pack and we will also look at pharma, especially Lupin is something that I'm looking at. Nomura here has a buy rating with a target price of 2350 with the announcement of a new drug in the US, and this follows after the US FDA approval. We already have the first ticks on the Nifty, 22,524, 23 point of a dip on the Nifty. The Nifty bank also about 100 points lower in trade. I think it's not started to move. We'll just get back to the Nifty bank at this point. I think it's a 0.1% of a dip on the Nifty bank right now. Flattish absolutely in trade. But what's sharply moving higher? Metal, something that Vaishali did point out that she's confident of. There's almost a percent uptick on this. Broader markets, the small caps and the mid caps are also showing us some thick action. Over a percent gain for the small caps and about a 0.6% of a rally for the mid cap index as well. Realty, pharma, even oil and gas and consumer durables are showing us some ticks, but auto, IT, private banks and FMCG are on the back foot in the opening. When we look at the top movers on the Nifty, you have BEL. There were brokerage houses updates on this one. Jeffries with a target price of 325. That's probably behind it. 1.5% higher for this one. Then pharma stocks like Sun Pharma are coming back in action. 2% higher. Metal stocks, Tata Steel, BPCL, Coal India. So again, the oil and gas commodity play coming back into flavor. On the lower end, you have IndusInd Bank. That's another 4.5% down. Again, there has been some downgrades from the brokerage houses. UBS has a down grade to sell rating as far as IndusInd Bank is concerned. They have slashed the target price to 850 now, and the stock has slipped below 900 levels already. You can see M&M, Trent, Bajaj Auto, ITC, and L&T as those stocks on the Nifty which are on the back foot. But let's look at the PSU stocks. You have the OMC is definitely up and about. BPCL, HPCL, IOC, all three of them are up and about. Then you have defense names like HAL, BEL, that's also up. BHEL is up. Power related stocks like Power Grid, is also up. Power Finance Corporation, REC, that's another one from the financing of the power space that's also up and about. Let's look at the absolute broadest index. Any key names that we can mark for absolute sharp momentum? Kolte Patil Developers 6% higher, so the real estate stocks, some of them are actually moving up. Binani Industries is up by about 7-8 odd percent. Let's look at anything else that's looking interesting. Very rare stocks, but Swan Defense about 4% higher. Let's see how that one is moving. Then in Nifty as well, Havels is something that's pulling up. You have these consumer durables that are up and about as well. Vaishali, how do you sense the opening is for the markets? What does it suggest for today as trading action and strategy?
So, well, I'll wait for a while, but right now, I mean, technically, what we have also recommended our clients, stock which is at a fair value, I mean, after a good corrective move, and you can see right now we are seeing some momentum setting in, is Supreme Industries. Have a look at that chart. I mean, it is showing some momentum, and I
Okay.
think it's pretty much done with its corrective move. Technical support comes at 3,300. Currently, we see a move, I mean, it's at 3,400 levels. So, I would say the risk reward ratio is pretty much favorable at this level.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as Supreme Industries goes, strong momentum, and Vaishali is confident of the stock right now. Let's again get back to the markets. Well, I think only the mid caps and the small caps are showing us some action. Major indices, they've all slipped, and there is some pressure because India VIX is higher by about 4.5%, and you have only media, pharma, financial services to some extent, metals, infra, oil and gas are showing us some ticks, but it's very volatile start in the trade. But in the F&O space, you have HPCL, but you have also Tata Power, which you had marked in terms of the news to watch. That's also up and about in trade. Let's get back to understanding the pharma space with Vineet. Vineet, I want to take an understanding on how are you approaching pharma. It's been a stellar run up so far. It was the best performing sector last calendar year as well, but does it still have the momentum and still have the triggers to carry on with the trade going forward?
See, the CDMO companies are definitely going to do well, but
Okay.
within the CDMO space, I think you have to be very selective and picky. Uh, just not every stock that talks about CDMO is going to run out and do well. So you need to be careful out here. As far as domestic pharma is concerned, there's a lot of, there's hardly any growth in the market. And, if there are any sanctions slapped on India's exports, I think India will obviously raise prices. But, there are a lot of other competing players globally, you know, who were out, who were not very suddenly become competitive because of pricing going up. So we need to see how this entire space is going to perform. It's going to be very tricky. I think only when the tariffs are announced that we can volunteer any kind of a opinion on that.
Okay. Vaishali, do you have any pharma related stock ideas that you'd like to share where you're confident of the momentum getting carried on?
Not for now.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as pharma. That's still in a tricky situation. But let's discuss some of the other stocks. Vineet, I wanted to discuss the power-related stocks that you were also marking. How are you looking at, Tata Power and NTPC Power Grid vis-a-vis the PFC, RECs of the world? And what's your approach here?
So, one stock which is absolutely secular and looking good from a very long term point of view is going to be NHPC.
Okay.
I think valuations are quite benign and a lot of capacity coming on stream over the next 3 years. And that momentum will continue for the next 3 to 4 years. So if you're looking at the multi-bagger stock in the power sector, I think NHPC is the one to look at.
NHPC is the one to look at clearly. Your top favorite pick within the power space, Vaishali, what would that be?
So, well, one would be NTPC, and the other one, what I've spoken about, is Torrent Power and Tata Power.
Okay, got that. So those are top two or three names that you could look at fundamentally and technically as far as the power space is concerned. Vinita, how are you looking at the oil and gas story with the crude oil prices inching further down? There's this expectation that OPEC Plus will continue to further the supply, reverse the production cuts again. That could ease some more pressure on the crude oil prices. It's already below $70 a barrel. It could further inch down lower. Good news for the oil and gas OMCs particularly.
OMC is definitely good news. But even today, without any OPEC production increases, the supply in the market is going to go up because obviously, big boy US and a number of other countries are enhancing production. So, softer oil prices should be the norm. But there are always skirmishes that happen every time there is negativity around oil, just to keep the prices up and running. In fact, if oil prices collapse, you're going to see a overhang of that being played out on the economies of the Middle East, which are going to, which have a very, very, just to balance their budget, they need significantly higher oil prices.
Fair point. Vaishali, anything specifically within the OMCs that interests you?
Well, I would look at ONGC, Coal India. These are technically well placed. So I think besides Reliance, as we spoke about, these stocks could be good. I'm not much of a fan for OMCs because they fluctuate a lot. So I would go for the stocks that I mentioned.
Okay. The other space that I wanted to discuss, something that I was mentioning, BSE and the capital market story also, Vineet. With the current setup in the markets and the volatility that's undergoing, we've actually seen these stocks come under pressure on of late. In fact, the stock has been under pressure largely because of NSE shifting its day of expiry as well. How much more downside do you see for BSE, and does it really matter in the long run when we talk about the volumes could get impacted because of the expiry shifting and fewer options right there for BSE because the NSE has shifted it to Monday. There is no earlier day in the week than Monday that BSE could now come in for a tit for tat situation. What are the options, and do you really feel that a volume cut will matter in the long run?
So, my opinion is that, the volumes have already gone down significantly.
Yeah.
And, I don't see the volumes collapse too much from the current levels because with the volatility, we'll get better volumes also. Uh, my opinion is that, there could be another 10% haircut. But in my opinion, the fair value of BSE is somewhere around 5 to 6% higher from current levels. So not much of a trade out.
Vaishali, are you looking at the capital markets related story at all? AMCs, broking houses, CDSL, BSE of the likes, what looks good?
So I think, CDSL is a stock to my liking right now.
Okay.
BSC, I think, still needs a little bit of a corrective move. HDFC Asset Management, I'm not too sure. But well, I would say CDSL is pretty much close to its support levels. I mean, I think in a worst scenario, it can go towards 950. So my idea would be to accumulate from here on.
Okay, fair point. We'll keep an eye out on all these stocks as well. Let's look at some of the other pockets. Within the financial services that are now pulling up, Bajaj Finance is something that has actually come up as a strong player over the last few days. 2.5% higher even today, with Bajaj Finserv following in tow, 2% up right now. Within did talk about banks being probably a space that one can look at. What would you say to these large NBFC players, Vineet? Are they to your liking?
I think Bajaj Finance is a top pick in the NBFC space. I
Okay.
simply think that this stock is going to do some wonders over the next few years.
Okay.
Especially in a AI dominated world, I think there is no company which has got credentials that Bajaj Finance has got.
So one
So
can
very,
go ahead and buy at this level as well, you're saying?
but it's moved up quite a bit. But buy on declines or buy some initial tracking quantity and keep adding as the market comes down. Because we expect that one more negative leg will play out here.
Okay, fair point, fair point. And where do you think that negative leg could actually take the Nifty to? I mean, what is the downside that you expect?
So immediately 21,800, we could test the test the bottom. So 22,000, 21,800
Fair,
is
okay.
somewhat where we would be looking for the markets to settle.
Okay, 21,800 could definitely be tested, and then we could probably see a base getting formed. At this point in time on the Nifty, Bajaj Finance is a clear contributor on the positive side. ICICI Bank is another one that's also contributing on the higher side. HDFC Bank is also contributing. So we'll stick with the banks again. Within the private sector names, Vineet, how are you looking at both ICICI and HDFC vis-a-vis IndusInd Bank, where there is clear pressure? I mean, UBS has said that 1 year tenure is very negative for the bank's near-term earnings outlook. Focus is shifting to regulatory prescriptions. They've also cut the EPS estimates. They believe there is lack of strategic direction. Lower growth is likely to result in further derating for the stock. So, large private sector players like HDFC and ICICI vis-a-vis what's happening in IndusInd.
So IndusInd, more of it has got to do with the the microfinance story.
Yeah.
I think I was hearing rumors that a large bank was having very high uh, you know downgrades in terms of the micro portfolio. So the bank that comes to my mind is IndusInd Bank, and it could get impacted. It could also be Bandhan. So microfinance is going to be under pressure even more. And on the lending side, the second-hand lending stocks like Chola and that portfolio is also impacted with IndusInd. So that's not going to be doing well. We like Kotak, uh, we like ICICI and HDFC, and continue to remain positive on these.
Okay, fair point. I hope all the viewers are taking these names down. What about Vaishali, you in the private sector banking space? How are you approaching this? You did talk about some of your stocks in the PSU banks, but what about private sector?
So, well, my top of the line would be ICICI followed by HDFC Bank. So these two banks are to my liking. Kotak Bank already is in an established trend, so I think that is quite a conviction call.
Okay, got that. Well, we will thank you then, Vineet, for being with us. But before that, just one stock for Holi, if you could mention, a colorful stock that one can add to their portfolios.
We spoke to you about it. LT Foods, I think it can add a lot of color to the portfolio.
Okay, I think people should start making kheer and a lot of rice dishes at this point in time, and that is something that will definitely add color to Holi as well as to your portfolios. Thank you so much, Vineet. Always a pleasure to speak to you and get those brilliant stock ideas that you have to share with all our viewers. Always appreciate your presence. Thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you.
us, and hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Let's look at some of the other stocks, and we'll start quizzing Vaishali on those now. We have nearly the 15-minute candle out, and we are actually not on a bad footing. 22,584. We've improved from the day's low. Vaishali, does it look good?
I think, see, overall, right now it's the banking counter which is participating and contributing to the market. So I think, yes, as I said, Sakshi, for this week itself, 22,300 should be the near-term support. And this being a truncated week, I think we can go towards 22,800. That would be the level that I would be looking at.
Fair point. Okay, let's look at some stocks. Power Grid has gone on to the top of the chart as far as the Nifty is concerned now. You have 2.2% uptick on this. Definitely the heavyweight counters, Bajaj Finance, 2.5% uptick is really leading the Nifty to recover from the day's low. You see that we are nearing 22,600 now at this point in time as far as the markets are concerned. Then you also have, apart from this, Shriram Finance within the finance space, another heavyweight counter that's actually doing well at this point. You have power related stocks, then you have BEL that's up by 2%, NTPC, BPCL, even the metal stock Hindalco, Tata Steel, that's up and about in trade. Vaishali, within the metals, which are your top favorite stocks? You were talking about metals that you're confident of this space. Top stocks here?
So, well, I think overall, one needs to just rotate because metal stocks all of them
Yeah.
are moving. So well, but I would look at Jindal Steel and Power. I would look at Hindalco, Nalco, and now, I mean, technically well placed are Hindustan Zinc and so also Hindustan Copper. So I guess everything moves in rotation. So this is a full basket that I would be looking for opportunities.
Okay, fair point. Let's look at some of the other pockets then. We have, okay, apart from metals, what's on the down? Autos are actually slipping away, 0.7% lower. We haven't discussed this one. Let's get talking on this. You know, you have some stocks, only very marginal stocks like Tata Motors, for instance, it's holding at 650 on the positive zone, Bharat Forge, Ashok Leyland, MRF, but rest of the stocks have all slipped, and you can actually see, a decline across the board on M&M, that's the top loser, Bajaj Auto, Maruti Suzuki, Eicher Motors, even the tire-related stocks like Apollo, you have battery makers like Exide, Bosch, even auto ancillaries are also falling behind. Your sense on the auto pack right now, Vaishali, would you look at this dip as an opportunity to enter, or would you stay away?
I'll wait for some confirmations actually because right now the sector on the whole, if I'm looking at the index, there's nothing really happening. There's nothing so convincing. The trend is still down. But only for a theoretical purpose, technical purpose, I would say we had recommended Tata Motors as a trading strategy. We saw very good erosion coming in. So 620 was acting as a very good support line. So on basis of that, we had just given a trading strategy. I would continue to have the same view. 620 acts as a prominent support. And if that is so, this can give a good bounce back.
Fair point. Let's look at some of the other spaces then. What else is looking out? So within the NBFCs, you can also see some, broking related stocks, stocks like Muthoot Finance, gold and silver financing, something that Vaishali was pointing out to, that silver is to her liking. You also have stocks like Nuvama Wealth that are moving up. Then you have Manapuram, Muthoot, both are actually up and about. Do you continue to believe these stocks can actually provide you that extra edge if you want to play the gold and silver story through the financing aspect at all, Vaishali?
Yeah, so Manappuram has really not done much, in the recent past. So I'm looking at that stock. I would say 190 should be taken as a support, and my projected target comes to around 220 to 30. So that is the way I would look at the stock.
Okay, fair point. Let's look at some of the other interesting stories then. Vaishali, how would you play BEL today? 1.7% higher?
So I would say, well, we continue to have a very positive view on this. In fact, even in a market when we were having a negative move, BEL was holding very well. I have always mentioned that it had a very good trend no matter what. So we, in fact, have recommended this stock at around 248 levels to our clients. And I would say that yes, 290 would act as a near-term target resistance. Beyond that, if we see the stock sustaining, that would take us to next target of 310, 320. So for now, 290 is the level to watch for a resistance.
Got that. Okay, fair point. We'll look at that as well. You have some momentum that's coming in on media stocks, on metals, FMCG also, some ticks on the higher side. One can see a 0.4% uptick. Let's look at this basket as well. Colgate is up, I think 1.2%, HUL, Godrej Consumer Products, Tata Consumer Products, Britannia and Nestle, 0.5% to 1.5%. That's the range in which some of these stocks are moving. FMCG, any confidence here? It's moved to the high point of the day.
I would say it's a safe sector comparatively. So I would definitely focus on all these stocks to start with HUL. We are looking at a good move coming in Godrej Consumer. So also is the case with ITC. So overall Nestle. So overall my view is positive on FMCG counter.
FMCG counters, fair point. Okay, one can definitely look at this space. We have even on the Nifty Next 50 some moves across Pidilite, on Godrej Consumer Products. These are the stocks that are moving up. But beyond this space also, consumer durables, when we talk about the overall consumption basket, is also looking up. Remember, Vaishali, we were talking about stocks like, Voltas, Blue Star last week. Any suggestion here? Would Havells catch up?
So I would say yes, Voltas has given a good move. Even look at Amber. All these stocks are well. So let me have a look at Havells one. There is
Absolutely.
Crompton Grieve, that also was quite at a fair value. I think Havells should do well. Right now, it is at a resistance above 1500. It's ready for a target of 1600 and so on. So yes, one can look in.
One can definitely look at this space. Okay, let's discuss, another space, and that's the hospitality and the tourism space yet again. Vaishali, with the onset of summers, a lot of plans start to get made at this point in time. People start to book for their summer vacations as well. So hotels must be looking at bookings for the peak summer season. We have even the, stocks like Indigo you had marked last week also, that was in thick momentum. Where would you keep your attention if one has to really bet big on hospitality for the summer?
So I would say, well, Indian Hotel continues to be my favorite. So 720 acts as a support and 830, 850 would be the target. Besides that, in the cash category, I would look at Lemon Tree, Sami Hotels. These are the stocks which are looking positive.
Okay, fair point. I hope, all those, big on tourism as a theme should definitely start looking at some of the, momentum that we are catching on here. We were talking about BEL from the defense space, but the entire pack seems to be catching up in momentum. Data patterns is up over 3%, HAL 2% higher. BEL we have discussed. You have Solar Industries, Zen Technologies, Bharat Dynamics, all of them showing us some ticks on the higher side as well. We were discussing auto space, auto ancillaries. There is some momentum on Tirupati Forging, Ganga Forging, these kind of stocks. You have Craftsman Automation, Setco Automotive, Omax Auto. These are stocks that are buzzing in trade. Just giving you a flavor of what else is buzzing in the street. On the realty pack, it's Phoenix Mills that's up and about today, 2.7% higher. Oberoi Realty, Macrotech, Prestige, that continues to be in action as well. IT pack, although Vaishali did say that she's not very confident at this point in time here, there is some tick on the higher side on HCL Tech, LTI, Mindtree, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, but not very convincing at this point in time. Pharma, like I said, there is mixed trade, but some of them are definitely higher, like Lupin on the back of those approvals that they have got for the tablets in the US. And apart from that, we also have stocks like, Abbott, Cipla, Gland Pharma, Torrent Pharma, all of them showing us some ticks on the higher side as well. So that's as far as the overall momentum is concerned in the markets. Vaishali, anything in the F&O space that catches your attention?
FNO space, yes, Sakshi, as I spoke about Hindustan Unilever, that is one stock to my liking. And on the sell side, I'm looking at Paytm. It's gone
Okay.
672, showing some weakness. I think it can go towards 650 levels.
Yes, in fact, even last week there was a lot of pressure on Paytm. If we look at the stretched charts, let's actually look at Paytm. To see how the stock has been under pressure. Last 5 days, the stock has lost 7%. Last 1 month, 13%. And when we look at the year-to-date basis, we are just sitting in the third month. It's lost 31.8%. So this new year has not panned out good for Paytm at all. 673, despite some good news that were flowing in towards the latter half of the last year. Where exactly do you see Paytm headed, and would you think that those who are having this stock at higher levels should look at this dip as an opportunity to accumulate, or still stay cautious?
I think 650 is a level to watch. That's a technical support, and I think we're pretty much close to that. So I would say one can buy at those levels.
Okay, fair
So
point.
overall,
So,
that's not yet damaged. I mean, it looks fine as long as 650 levels are held on.
okay, fair point. So definitely can be looked at this point in time. Okay, let's also discuss one more space. I think insurance space was showing us some traction even last week, and even today also. Right at the opening, I did see HDFC Life or an SBI Life also showing us some more promise. I think again a lot of renewals on insurance happens in the new financial year. People would be reviewing it in the last part of the current fiscal year to see where are their premiums going to be increased, how are they going to be probably changing or restructuring their insurance policies. SBI Life, HDFC Life, anything that looks good here? LIC, PB
Well,
Fintech.
they are quite laggards, if you ask me. In fact, our focus was on these stocks for very much time. Technically, they are well placed. Maybe, for the long-term perspective, this can be looked into. But I am not seeing any trading strategy happening right now in SBI Life. That's the stock that I'm looking at right now. But technically, I would say yes, it's at a very good support level.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as the insurance players are concerned. Let's again look at the key market setup and the key stocks that you could probably look at. Wherever there is a bullish moving average crossover on 20 EMA basis, let's actually look at that. Z Entertainment 3.7% higher. Data Patterns, HAL, Saregama. These are the stocks where there are bullish moving average crossovers that are developing. Anything on Z, Vaishali, that you'd like to highlight?
Well, purely on technical terms, I would say it is showing strength, but 110 acts as a resistance. So I would say keep a range of 100. If it crosses 110, then look for a target of 115 to 120. So for now, I would say it's a range of 100 to 120.
Fair point. Let's look at some of the other stocks then. We have within the broadest index again, you have Tata Teleservices that's up 5.5%, PTC Industries is up 5%, Naveen Fluorine 1.6% higher, Vast Financiers that's another one 5.6% up. Okay, let's discuss this one space. Chemicals, Vaishali, what's your suggestion here? What should one's approach be towards chemical space stocks?
See, this is the sector which it has really not performed. But
Yeah.
once again, as I spoke about, I think Supreme Industries is a part of the chemical stock. So also, I'm not too sure about that. But well, Sudarshan Chemicals, Naveen Fluorine, they look pretty good to look at. SRF we had spoken about long back. It was already in a very good trend. So yes, I continue to stay bullish. I think chemical is about time it should participate. Even UPL, if you ask me, it is in a good trend. So these are all showing positive signs that yes, it can take off anytime.
Okay, fair point. I hope this has also given you some sense of as to how to approach these particular pieces. Let's look at the markets again. India VIX is up 3.2%, 13.9. Autos are on a back foot today, 0.6% lower. Consumer durables also falling behind, now 0.3% back. You have private banks that are flat with a negative bias and small caps, which are on the down. But rest of the pockets are still holding up above the flat line, with the media stocks up 1%, largely led by Z and some of the other stocks there. You have metals, FMCG, realty, which we've discussed. All of these pockets that are doing well. Financial services for sure. Large heavyweights like Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Finance, they are both contributing well to the Nifty's move. IT is improving a bit, 0.3% higher. Midcaps are holding up just above the flat line. You have now even the Pharma. It's a choppy day, to say the least, at this point in time. But let's see how this improves from here. PSU stocks are definitely doing well. 1.2% higher. Power stocks, something that Vaishali right away mentioned when she was first talking about the pockets that she's looking at. Power grid is up now 3.5%. You have, some of the other stocks like, of course, BL we've discussed, HPCL Oil India. You have the entire space. NTPC is too Vaishali's liking as well. That's also on the move. Coal India is moving up. NHPC is something that Vineet pointed out as his top favorite within the power pack. So it's the PSU stocks where the momentum is. Any other key stock beyond where you have discussed, Vaishali, within the PSU stocks? So what else can one keep an eye out on?
How can we miss out SBI?
Okay.
Have a look at it. Because if banking stocks have to move and if PSU banking counter has to move, then SBI has to be top of the list.
SBI has to be top line. One has to definitely look at it. 0.7% up, 737.9, 5 rupee higher right now. So one can definitely look at the PSU story building up. It's at the day's high point, volumes picking up, and a strong move. So a good suggestion by Vaishali there to definitely look at SBI. That's moved to the high point of the day, even in this kind of a volatile market. First half an hour candle out. What should be the strategy for the markets and for investors today, Vaishali?
I would say now is the time because, well, we have witnessed a lot of pessimism. I don't say that we have confirmed bottoming out, but, well, we have seen good erosion. So I would say do a research of good quality stocks and start accumulating.
Okay, got that. We'll start looking at wrapping up the market for the morning trading session. Vaishali, thank you so much for being with us in the morning edition of Market Today and sharing with us all those strategies that you've shared across the board, various stocks that you have suggested as well. We hope things improve, but some more clarity, like you've mentioned, will be important to really find out whether we are out of the woods yet. 94 points higher. We are at 22,646. Not bad at all for a Monday morning opening for the Nifty Bank. 0.1% higher, 58 points up right now. Let's look at the 52-week highs. There's only one stock which is at a 52-week high, and that's Avanti Feeds. 1.6% up, and you can see, a move by 13 rupee, etc., and 811 as the current level. So strong volumes that are being seen on this one. On the 52-week low end, you have IndusInd Bank. 3% lower at 907. It slipped to a 52-week low level. The top gainers today from the broadest index are Avas Financiers, 6% higher, Tata Teleservices, PTC Industries, DOMS Industries also 3.8% higher, Z Entertainment, Power Grid and Dr. Lal Path Labs. When we look at the Nifty 100 names, you will find Power Grid again, JSW Energy, Tata Power, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, Adani Transmission as those stocks which are moving up. On the Nifty 50 again, it's Power Grid, Bajaj Twins, BEL, Adani Ports that's moving up. Tata Steel and HUL as the top movers, with the ones which have the most, active by volume. The stocks are Vodafone, Suzlon, Yes Bank. Then you have Zomato as well, which is on volumes. You can see IRB Infra, 0.5% higher, Tata Steel. These are the stocks which are most active by volume, but those by value are IndusInd Bank, BSE on the lower end, Data Patterns, RIL on the higher side, 1255 on Reliance Industries yet again. All right, viewers, we'll start to wrap up the trade now. 22,650 is definitely with us, 95 points higher. So good start to this truncated week. Let's hope that this carries on and gives us some more strength and addition as far as when we are looking at a recovery from the last week lows of about 21,900 that we've seen on the Nifty, and from there on we have recovered 600, 700 points. Let's see whether this only builds on for the better. We'll continue to track the market stories for you throughout the course of the day, but do stay tuned on to Business Today Television. At 12 noon, I'll be back with Daily Calls, your favorite show that you can get an answer to your own stock-specific queries by market experts. So stay tuned with us for that.
At the India Today conclave, it's